Hi, I'm Marcus Coward, and this is Wake Up New Bedford, and I am here with Alicia and Maria. Thanks again for being here, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
And so, Maria, we can start with you. Growing up, let's say before you got to high school, what did you see yourself being when you grew up, career-wise?
So career-wise, I've always knew since little that I wanted to work with children. I don't know why, but it's always something that I always wanted to do. So I started volunteering at the churches. I started working within, so I always knew that. So I always took that step into going into the field of childcare,
Okay.
which is what I'm doing now. Not childcare, but I'm working with children.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's something that I always knew I wanted to do, is working with children. I've been working with children for 10 plus years now. So like I said, I started volunteering at churches, started volunteering in different areas where I could, work with children, went to Voc, and did the child care program.
Oh, I was going to ask. Okay.
Yeah.
And so, is that the shop that you wanted, and then luckily you got that?
Yeah, it was my first choice,
Okay,
and
great.
I got my first choice.
Nice. Okay.
I worked hard so then I can get into that shop, and I enjoyed being in there, but I think I didn't thrive into that field until I left Voc. I started working at a daycare right after, and I feel that's where I found myself, and I found my way of being able to work with children a lot more. And so every time I work with children, I've always said I've never gotten bored. I learn something new. These children teach me something new every single day. And after Voc, I went to BCC to study psychology because I was still in that, I knew I wanted to work with children, but just not exactly where I wanted to put my focus in.
Sure.
But not until I got into BCC, I knew it's in psychology, working with children, behavioral therapy. So it's what I'm doing now, working with children who have autism.
Sure.
But at the same time, also still working at the daycare that I started off with.
So you don't see yourself being a teacher, you see yourself being more so like a counselor and behavioral therapist?
Yep.
Okay, great.
So I see myself in that field because I feel like I could do a lot of work in that field.
Absolutely.
There's so many children who need help, and so my main focus right now, all my children that I work with who are on the spectrum do speak Spanish. The families speak Spanish, because when I applied for the job that I am with now, the one thing I told them is, put me with the families who speak Spanish, because
Sure.
I know that's where the work is needed.
Yes.
There's so many people who speak English, and so they are able to help them.
Yeah.
Put me where it's most needed and where I know I can do the most work and be able to help others. So that's my focus right now in the work that I'm doing. And that is the career that I want to be in. It's
Sure.
in that specific field, which I'm so glad that I'm able to already be in that field. All I'm just doing is just climbing up the ladder.
And so, Alicia, same question for you. I mean, when you were younger, did you have an image of what you wanted to be in your mind, and are you doing that now, or did you pick something else along the way?
So when I was in Guatemala, I wanted to learn how to play the piano, and
Okay.
and that's what I wanted to do. I love music, and when there's music, I'm alive. I'm alive when there's music. But since I was, 10, 11, 12 years old, I started translating.
Okay.
For my mom, for my grandmother, and then as I got older, 12, 13, 14, then I started translating for many people. And I saw a necessity. And I also saw that people weren't able to get everything that they needed it because they didn't speak the language. So I started serving the community since I was a very young person. And then I just saw myself doing that, serving the community, just doing that. And that's what I've been doing. And I've been working in many areas, but it's also serving the community, giving something, because when you give, you always get back, you know, and you can get it back through love and caring and all those things that makes a person rich inside.
Yeah.
Inside.
And so, specifically with Hispanic immigrants, do you feel like there's been, when you first came, you know, 22 years ago, was it difficult to come into America and to become comfortable and find a place here? Was it hard? Was it difficult, or was it easier than you thought?
And you Bedford, yes, it was hard. It was easy in Los Angeles.
Because they were speaking Spanish. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, and Providence, there was a lot of people that speak Spanish there. It was hard here, just because they wanted it to motivate yourself, or they wanted it to make you into I don't know what.
Yeah, their image of American.
Yes,
They're American.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so then it was hard to find for myself. It was hard to find my place, but I always managed to get involved or be next to Hispanic community, and which was great for me.
And the legalization process, has it always been really complicated, or is it just complicated now, or it's always been a big process?
Yeah, it's there's people here that have been undocumented for 20, 30 years. And
Wow.
people usually ask, well, how come you don't apply? And it's not easy. They don't give it to you. They would postpone your appointment or your appointments to see the judge. They would tell you, come back in a year, come back in 2 years, come back in, and then there's no law that can give you that. There is other ways of being able to get documented through different kind of visas that they give you, but for a lot of people there's not. And then sometimes even whenever they'll give you other kind of visas, they don't allow you to become residents and then USA citizens. So then it stops in a moment. So then being legalized it's not easy, and we still don't understand why, because and we don't know where's the profit of not legalizing people.
Yeah.
I just don't know why.
And so, when you were talking about your career, you left off with saying that you were translating and getting involved in the community. Is that work that you're still doing? Or,
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, yes, and now it's work kind of. Before it was always like volunteer. So when it started to become work, or somehow get paid,
Sure.
It didn't feel right, because I have never done anything for money. I've done it because I want to and because I care. And so, but when someone else saw my potential, they decided that I can get paid for this. But I still do it. I also work in a daycare, just like Maria. And even when I started in the daycare, I started introducing the community into the daycare, that they can have access to the daycare, and I would help also translating and also guiding community members to look for other resources so they can have childcare for their children. And also, at the daycare that I work for, they're also very good, when it comes to inviting people to be there because they have someone that speaks Spanish.
Sure.
And that's one of the reasons why I also got hired, because I speak Spanish. But I've been doing that work with the daycare, but then I decided that the daycare also allowed me to be a mom, and I did that for many years, and it allowed me to be a mom. But then after, when my children were all raised and being capable of taking care of themselves, I decided to do what I like to do and what I love to do and what I learned to love to do, and which is helping the community. And that's how I have my this other job now.
Maria, it sounds like your mom has really influenced you into like the woman that you are.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, when she said that, you know, she was just volunteering and it felt wrong for her to get money for what she was doing. We were just talking about that off camera of how you're helping these students and you just do it out of the kindness of your heart. It sounded like exactly what your mom said. Yeah.
You know, I've always said to my mom, I'm like, Mom, what did you do to me? Because I'm like, you know, I don't, you know, now it's like I don't stop fighting for others. And, you know, how, you know, we were, like you mentioned, you know, off camera is about helping students on, you know, tutoring other students on my free time. You know, I do it because I know what it was growing up and having a hard time. And, you know, my parents doing their best. You know, I remember my mom sitting there with me, like, you know, reading but the language barrier, it was hard. So I know that, and because I know that, it's why I I love to help and be able to say, you know what, I can do it, and I can help your child, and I don't need anything, because to me, it's, you know, I've been working with this one child, and since he was in first grade, now he's going into third, and his grades have like gone up so high, and
That's amazing.
That to me, it's worth a lot.
Yes.
You know, money
yes.
cannot put anything on top of that, because it's like seeing these children thrive. You know, I would go to the meetings with the parents, and you know, a lot of them would be like, well, he's like, the child's silly, the child isn't paying attention. It's like, it's not that they don't want to focus. It's not that they're being like, you know, interrupting classes. It's just they need the help. And so it's like giving the child that help, that extra help that maybe the school is not able to, and seeing them and showing them, you know what, they just needed that little push. It's a lot. It means a lot, because I'm like, I'm showing them that they just need that push to show you that they can thrive. And this one child, he's thriving and he's enjoying school, and that's so rewarding. And you know, and I see my mom the way that she does it, and it's like, I've learned a lot from her, and you know, and it's like I keep learning from her. And every time I have a question or I have a doubt, I go, Ma, what do you think I should do? You know, Ma, what do you think I should, you know, how do you think I should go about this?
Sure.
Because she, you know, I don't know, she's just, we're gonna sit here, we're gonna talk about her all day.
No, she's a superwoman. No, she really is.
Yeah.
But as we're talking about you getting involved in the community, you know, tell us a little bit about these papers that you have and the organization that you're in.
So I am, so these papers that I have, it's part of the New Bedford Coalition of like Save Your Schools, which we created, if you don't mind, because it kind of like goes
Please,
off,
go ahead.
base to base off of like my mom's, like the organization that was created here, because it's a collaboration of all. So if we don't mind, like starting off with
Sure.
my mom to talk about the organization, so that we can flow right into
Okay,
to
please,
this paper.
Alicia, take it away.
So we haven't. I work with an organization that it's Mujeres Victoriosas, then in Bedford,
And you're wearing the shirts too, I noticed.
representing all the time. And when we saw this administration coming in, and we saw people being so scared, we decided to do something. We didn't know what. We just decided we needed to do something. And we started having conversations with CSJ, which is Coalition of Social Justice. We started having conversations with them about it. And then we went to a meeting with New Bedford Save Our Schools. And then from there, we started getting in contact with many other community members. They've been so great. And we did this rapid response for the community. We created this rapid response for the community. And then we started talking about the necessities that we have. And so we have a mutual aid team. We have also a team that, you know, does the actions. And also a team that also verifies, or more like a community watchers, you know, just so that community members are not stressed, because we saw that at the beginning, people were very stressed and very scared, and we thought that it was best for them to have someone who can help them. And with this, we also have another team that also takes care or watches over the schools and over the students, because we noticed that a lot of children didn't want to go to school. A lot of parents were afraid of sending their children to school, and we also know that education it's important. And even with this administration, we need to continue going. We don't know how, but we need to continue going. And so then this other team has been working with a resolution, and Maria can talk to you about it.
Okay, thank you.
So yes, so among like many people, we created a resolution because we've seen like everything with the ICE raids going around like everywhere in the country, and even in New Bedford here, like how my mom mentioned, we did see that a lot of students and families were impacted, and they were afraid of sending their students, their kids to school, and not feeling safe. So we came together. I'm just gonna read off so that you can.
Yeah.
So this is informed by the Massachusetts Attorney General guidance. So we've been working since May, creating this resolution, and it's been with many people, like families, immigrant families, educators, the Superintendent O'Leary, even one of the members, Melissa Acosta, who was part of creating this resolution. And this resolution, its main focus, it's the students.
Sure.
And when we mean the students, we mean like the immigrant students, you know, who have parents who are undocumented. And so this focuses on them and making sure that they feel protected and assured when coming into school, that the schools are their safe haven. You know, coming to school, every child should feel safe.
Yes, absolutely.
And so that's why we created this resolution. But over the past couple of meetings that we've had with the school committee, because August 11th would be our third meeting that we are meeting with the school committee about this resolution. Our first time when we brought it up back in like May, towards the end of May, it was on, you know, on their schedule for us to be able to present it. Last minute, they took it off. We don't know why. They have their reasons for whatever reason they had. The second time came around, they were not prepared again. They had about a month to read it, and they tabled it due to them not understanding the language of this this resolution that was presented and given to them like priors. So now we are on our third one, and we keep fighting this because this resolution is supposed to help the community.
Yes.
And the reason why it's also part of to be able to be in this so that we can allow the community to know what's going on, because it's the community's kids who are in this school and who we are fighting for. And I've noticed that a lot, you know, throughout the time, yes, the space is public for the community to come during these meetings, but sometimes the communities are not aware, so they don't come to these meetings. So the people that are there, you know, the media, they tend to take it at a different context. You know, this resolution sparked a lot of like political views within the school committee, and other people, not just the school committee, but other people who are just hearing, who are not actually like taking the time to listen. So I want to be here to present a couple of the points that we have that I have heard other people taking it out of context, just to clarify the meaning. So if you don't mind,
please.
I would like to read some of them. So one of the first ones is, whereas federal immigration law enforcement activities on or around district property and transportation routes whereby surveillance, interview, demands for information, arrest, detention, or any other means harmful disrupt the learning environment to which all students, regardless of immigration status, are entitled, and significantly interfere with the ability of all students, including U.S. citizen students and students who hold other legal grounds, and access to free public education from K to 12. And so what's people get confused, it's because when we say that now for it to be resolved, it's what we're asking is for the district to, it says, shall interact with U.S. Immigration and Customs, state or local enforcement agencies acting on behalf of ICE. And this is where those two kind of get into, people kind of mix them up, and they are assuming that what we're asking is for the teachers and for them to like interfere and get into the middle of like ICE and police. And that's not what we're saying. We're not telling you to get into the middle of it. We're asking you to do the right thing, that if there is any presence of it, to not allow them into the schools, to not allow them to be anywhere near the students, because we tend to forget these students are minors.
Yes.
So even by law, if they're minors, no police is allowed to speak to them, to even approach them. So that's what we're asking the teachers and the schools. We're not asking them to interfere, because at the end of the day, the educators are there to protect the students. So we have to protect our educators so that they can protect our students.
Yes.
So we will never put in harm or say to put in harm any teacher or any educator. And I think that's a big one that people need to realize, and not everyone, because a lot of people, they understand, but they need to know that we will never put harm of our educators. We're just asking you to actually look at the guidelines of the Massachusetts attorney that they already have. They already have these outlines already put. So we're just saying, make sure that you follow these.
Yes.
And that the school knows to follow these, and that the educators know to follow these. Because a lot of the times, you know, I've seen that their political views got into the way of it, of like, okay, if you believe what's going on, it's correct, that is yours. But as an educator, you need to realize that at that moment does not matter, because what matters is the students.
And that every student has a right to a free public education.
Yes.
You know, and that right includes being safe at school.
And
Absolutely.
And that is totally, you know, and that is totally correct. And then another one that like kind of goes over people's head, and then they start, you know, assuming is, it goes, whereas through its policies and practices, the district has made a commitment to a quality education for all students, which includes a safety and stable learning environment, means of transportation to and from school sites, the preservation of classroom hours of educational instructions, and the requirements of school attendance. Be it further resolved, the district shall minimize the presence of unfamiliar individuals such as non-educators, police, security personnel, and others outsiders of the school. And you know, I have heard a lot of people say, oh, they're trying to eliminate all policing. You know, do they want us to transport these children in a big line, you know, all together? And that's not what we're asking. What this is asking, it's saying that make the transportation area, because students get picked up at bus stops. So do not allow ICE to enter any of these buses, you know, or, you know, if they see ICE around, like, to inform the community. And when we say limit the policing or unfamiliar people, we're not saying get rid of all the policing that's already in the school. Because I understand we need to protect our students.
Absolutely.
And they're there to protect our students. But at this moment, adding more is just going to add more stress. And it's like we need to understand that these students are afraid. You know, when it first started with everything back a couple of months ago,
Yeah.
You know, down on the south end around Bio Street with, you know, the incident on Bio Street, there was people, officers with military gear, with guns out at 8, 7 in the morning, where these kids are walking to Roosevelt, walking to Jacobs School, and you're gonna tell me that they're gonna feel safe like that? Knowing what's going around, that's not gonna make the child feel safe. And our community members were out there, and we got reports where students did not want to go to school, did not want to walk by these officers. So it's, you cannot tell me, you cannot tell the people that, you know, that they're going to feel safe with if we're adding more. And if you're not out there in the community, you're not watching what's actually happening, and which is why we're implementing these resolutions. This is something that's access to the public, for the public to be able to read and see. But I wanted to touch on those because a lot of people were just, oh, they want us to get rid of them. It's like, we're not asking you that. We're just asking you to limit, to not add more fear into these children, because all children should feel safe, regardless of their race, regardless of their backgrounds. We tend to, I feel like others tend to forget that children are just following the directions that their parents are giving them. You know, we cannot blame these children for the parents' actions.
They're innocent. They didn't do anything
They
wrong.
didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
And it's so that's why we're here, and that's why we need the community to know that this is what we're fighting for. This resolution to pass, because by passing this resolution, what we're asking, like as a committee, this is going to help the public to commit to the Attorney General guidelines
Yeah.
that were already set. This is ensuring that all school sites will be safe and that we know it's going to be safe. This is going to, you know, this is just going to show us, because, so, like I mentioned, we have the Superintendent O'Leary and other members who are for this.
Yeah.
And so they have said it in the meetings that they're already doing some of the work that we're doing in this. It's just that to them it was some of the language, like how I have read, that they weren't really, you know, on board with it. But they're doing the work.
Yeah.
So if you're doing the work, why not sign it? Why not pass this? Why not tell the community, we're doing the work and we're going to make sure that you know that we're fully with you.
And supporting.
And supporting and, you know, and signing it, that's what it means. So that if something does happen, we can go back and say, hey, listen, like, what happened?
Yeah.
Like, let's go back and read this and let's see what went wrong. But we at least have something. And so, you know, and this is why we keep pushing and we keep pushing, because we want this to pass, because we want the community to feel safe. And, you know, I always keep going back, like, when, as educators, your views are out the window, because what matters is those students.
Yes.
You know, I want to mention that on our last meeting, one of the school committee, Chris Carter, I believe that's his name, Carter,
Yeah.
who is a former police officer, who had mentioned on that day, you know, that it's not his full responsibility to protect the students, you know, and that because some students feel safe. And it's like our community needs to know that that was said that day, because as much as we voted them in, we can vote them back out. And these are our students, and these are the people who are working for our students. And so we cannot have somebody who believes or who thinks that there's a limit to when it comes to protecting these students, because no, there's no limit. There's you go all the way, and you have to go all the way when it comes to any student. And so it's like, having someone like that, it's not going to ensure a safe school. You know, it's going to allow others to think that, oh, well, if he can say it and he can do it and he's working for the students, then as a teacher, then I don't have to. And it's like, no, you do, because you chose this career. And this career, being an educator, means you're going to protect these students regardless.
No matter what.
And you're gonna have their back, and you're gonna fight for them. We're their voices, you know. And if that's not enough, New Bedford High, before they finished, they had a walkout.
Yes.
The students organized that.
Yes.
We, as the organizations, we did not organize that. The students organized that. And if the students are saying that they're afraid for their friends, for their neighbors, that should say a lot. This is their education. They're speaking up for their education. And the minute that someone says, oh, what you're doing is wrong, it's you shutting them down. This is how we start. You start shutting the students' voices out, and we should not. The students should be being able to speak up.
And so to perfectly said, and thank you for reading that. And Colleen DeWicki said something so powerful that I've just held on to during that meeting, where she said that even if, because it might have been Chris Cotter or someone else on the school committee that said that, especially with transportation, that's like out of their realm of responsibility, and maybe like they don't have the power with that. But then Colleen said, even if the school committee doesn't have as much power as people think, she wants to know that she's done all that they can, and whatever power that the school committee has, she wants to be able to use that and say that we've exhausted everything that we can to support our students. And I think that's so important that the school committee has to do.
Yes.
That's their job, is to support the students.
And yes.
And so, Alicia, you know, just to finish up, we have maybe another minute. What are your thoughts on those resolutions and on the situation we're in right now in New Bedford?
Yeah. Well, with the resolution, it has to do with security and keeping community members, taxpayers, also feeling safe, and also not putting in danger other students there. You know, ICE doesn't care. It doesn't care if you're documented or undocumented. they're gonna cause trauma into our community members. So thinking about everyone in general, we should protect all children.
Yes.
Everyone.
Yes.
So when we ask for this, we just don't ask for undocumented. We're also asking for everyone else for their own safety. We don't want children that with trauma later on, and also divided because of this administration. We don't want that. We want everyone to be safe. And with everything else that that is happening with immigration, I would just ask people to have more compassion.
Yes.
And also, whenever they even write their comments, think about that there's children reading those comments. And when I say children, maybe 15, 16, think about that and think about what you don't want to be done to yourself. You don't want to do it to someone else. Don't put so much hate out there. The world is the way it is because there's so much hate. Let's think about loving each other. And let's think of like undocumented community also puts a lot into this city.
Yes.
Provides so much into the city. So then, if you don't have anything nice to say, then let's not just say it, or let's say it in a better way, because we all have a right to speak up. But let's just use our words, so then we can think about someone else that maybe it's in fear and it can cause a lot of pain.
And if people can just realize that after every comment you say that there's a human being on the other side receiving that.
Yes.
You know, whether it's typing it or saying it out loud, that, like you said, I mean, just treat people the way you would want to be treated and have more compassion.
Everyone comes here with a dream. And like I became a citizen, and I did it because, I didn't want to be away from my children. But that also means that we're here because we want to do something with ourselves, and we're not criminals. And crossing the border, it's not a crime either. It's not. It's a misdemeanor. It's not a crime.
Yeah.
So then when they say criminals, it's not a crime to cross the border, and it's important to educate ourselves on that. So when we say it and when we talk about an undocumented person, let's speak about a person, not a criminal, and let's also speak about that this country was founded by people who came from another country. And the people that are here are not being violent. The people who came first was violent.
Yes.
So it's a difference between one and the other one. So let's not forget our roots. Let's not forget where we come from. And let's always remember to be generous and to be compassionate and to think that this world belongs to us, and we can only make it better if we stick together and if we love each other. And lastly, I just want to say that we have a lot of problems with this administration, that the last thing we need to do is divide ourselves. We need to unite ourselves.
Yes. Alicia, thank you.
Thank you.
Maria,
Thank you.
thank you. Everyone, this has been Alicia and Maria talking about their experience in New Bedford, growing up, their background in being Guatemalan and Mexican and American. And I hope you enjoyed, I hope you learned something, and I hope you're just a little bit more informed about what the people of New Bedford and this country are going through. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good night. Peace.
I'm running,